the Science Guy. Bill Nye, the Science Guy. Bill Nye, the Science Guy.
This is momentum. Momentum is inertia in motion, and the equation for momentum is momentum equals mass times velocity. The symbol for momentum is p, the symbol for mass is m, and the symbol for velocity is v. And momentum is measured in kilograms times meters per second. For example, momentum equals mass times velocity. The mass of this car is 2,267.96 kilograms. It's going 25 meters per second. If we multiply both of those, momentum equals 56,699 kilograms times meters per second.
So consider the following. A 2,500 kilogram truck runs into a 3,500 kilogram truck. What is this called?
Well, if you guessed an accident, you're not wrong. But more accurately, it's a collision.
Collision is the occurrence of objects hitting one another with force. Collisions between objects should demonstrate that the net momentum between objects before the collision should equal the net momentum after the collision, assuming that the interference of external forces is non-existent. So there's two types of collisions. The first is called elastic collision, which involves the colliding of objects without permanent deformation or without generating heat.
And the second collision is inelastic. The colliding objects do the exact opposite. They do not generate heat and they become disfigured.
Speaking of collision, it's important to remember that a change in an object's velocity or its mass, or in both, equals a change in its momentum. Speaking of momentum can also...
Hold on, you can't forget about impulse.
What do you mean?
Impulse is the spreading out of force over time and can also be found in a change in momentum.
Thanks. Anyway, speaking of momentum can also be transferred, whether that's two objects already stuck to each other or two objects in a collision. You'll see this more in our experiment.
Oh, hey, remember how mass and velocity affects momentum?
Oh, that's right. Okay. For example, say you have two cars that are the same mass, going the same speed, they have the same momentum. But then you change one of the cars into a giant bus going the same speed. The bus will have a bigger momentum because it has more mass. But somehow, the little car speeds up, gets in front of the bus. It's going faster than the bus now. And that even means that the little car can have more momentum than the big bus because the little car is going faster. Now it's time for the experiment.
In this experiment, you don't need that many materials. You can get a big ball and then a smaller ball. As you can tell, they have different masses.
The purpose of this experiment is to demonstrate the transfer of momentum from the big ball that will be hitting the ground first to the little ball on top by simply dropping it on the ground. As you can see here, the handball will hit the ground first, bouncing up and then transferring its momentum to the smaller ball, thus shooting it back up into the air with a greater velocity.
So in summary, momentum is inertia in motion. Change in momentum occurs as a result of impulse and can be transferred between objects through contact. Momentum is also heavily dependent on an object's mass and velocity. So remember, kids, size matters in momentum.